Hello everyone, today we'll be learning about branching, or what you might call them conditional statements. This is my name, and this is my assistant code. You can refer to me however you like. So now, when we're learning about branching, we do have to know what a Boolean operation is. It's basically any operation that returns a true or a false value. In C programming, you can refer to true as a 1 or false as a 0. They're pretty much interchangeable. But remember, when you're going to use a Boolean data type, you have to make sure that you're using this header file right here. The header file is stdbool.h, and it's specific to Boolean data types. Now, we also have Boolean operators. I'm pretty sure you guys have seen them when you're doing maths. So for example, when you look at this, what you probably think of is a comparing of two variables, whether or not they are equal to each other. So for example, A is equal to B. Now, this syntax is true when A is equal to B. It's important to note that in C, if you use one equals sign, it's more of an assignment. So you're saying that A will now not equal to, but like you're assigning it the values of B, but you don't want that yet. What you want is to compare two variables. So therefore, we use two equal sign. So the next one, we have less than, and of course it's true when A is less than B. Then we have less than or equal to, and it's true when it's A is less than or equal to B. Then we have greater than or equal to, and then this one, you might not seen this before, but this is the not equal to. So if you see something like this, it's saying that A is not equal to B. So of course. Then next up, we have these things called logical operators. And for the first example, we're looking at the AND operator. So let's make up an example. Let's say you're a teacher at school and you want to find out which student has the best grade and in what subject. Let's say science, right? So in order for that teacher to find that student who has a high mark in the science subject, it would mean that the test score, let's say, it has to be greater than 80, and they must be doing a science subject. So with this AND operator, the syntax of it is the ampersand, and we use two ampersands. So for this example, we have two variables, right? Which is the test score, or you might refer to A, and we have what subject they're doing, which is science. Now, what if they're both false? So that is, if the student got a score less than 80 and they're not doing science, then, and according to the AND operator, of course, the result will be false because it does not require, it does not fulfill the condition of what an AND operator is. And then the next two, they're almost the same, but not really. So A, we said that that's the test score. So if the test score is low, but they are doing a science subject, it will still be false. And the same goes for this. If they got a really high score, the student, but they're not doing science, then of course the result will be false. Now, for an AND operator to be true, both the variables have to be fulfilled. So now, if the condition is met, which is the student gets a high score above 80 and they are doing science, then of course it will be true. You'll start to use these logical operators in your program soon enough. But for now, we'll focus on the basics of what they return. So for the OR operator, the syntax is two vertical lines. So we can see here that if the student, going back to our example, if the student has less score than 80 and they're not doing science, then of course it's going to be false, right? Because that's not what the teacher's trying to find. But since this is the OR operator, it means we're saying that the student has to have a score of 80 or they're doing science, which is why when only one of them is false, it's still true, right? In this example. So yeah, if their score is less than 80, but they're doing science, it's true. If their score is high, but they're not doing science, it's also true. And if they're still doing science, but also have a score of above 80 or equal to, then it'll still be true. So this is for the OR operator. So it'll say true if at least one of them is true. Then we have the XOR operator or exclusive OR, and the syntax for it is the caret, or you can press Shift 6. Now, what's different to the OR operator is that it requires at least one of the variables to be true anymore. It's only when one of them is true. So we can look here. Well, this is the same, right? A and B is false. Of course, it's false. But when A and B is true, it returns a false value, which is why the only condition when it's true is when A is false, B is true, A is true, B is false. Now the not operator syntax is the exclamation mark, and this is a special one really. Let's say you have one variable that is true, and if you use that not operator, it will return the opposite. So when it's true, it will be false, but when it's false, it will be true again. So within these four logical operators, you can really try to make a complex program that will fulfill an objective depending on what you want exactly. So now we will be going to if-else statements. Hello friends, we're now at Dev C++. Please do follow along if you can, because we'll be making a cool program where we're going to sort out which student has a grade higher or equal to 80, and they're doing science. So this is our topic or our goal for today. So how do you make something like this? We first need to initialize some variables. So we'll use an integer or score. Let's say our student has a score of 80, which is the minimum. Then we can use something called a Boolean data type that can only be found in this header file. So we can call it science, or is in science. So we want this, let's say the student is taking science, so we can call it true. Then we use this thing called an if-else statement. How do you use it? Well, we use it like this. If a condition is met and the condition itself is written in these brackets or parentheses, then we do an action here. If it's not true, then it will go over to else and it will do a different action. So now for our condition, we want the score to be equal to or greater than 80. Now we're taking science. We can use the AND operator, right? Because we require for these two variables to be true. So if the score is greater than 80 and they are taking science, or is science is equal to true, then we print we can print a message, let's say accepted or something like that. Then if not, then we write denied, right? Simple. Now this is our student right here. If we run this code, would you think that is accepted or denied? For me personally, I think it's accepted because it fulfills the condition here. So now let's run it. Then boom, right here. We see accepted, right? It's accepted. Now, what if we change the score to be, let's say he got a bad score, he got 50. What would happen next? Well, let's run it. And here we can see that he is denied. Why, you ask? Because from the previous explanation, for the AND operator here, for it to be true, both of these have to be true, right? And because it's 50, 50 is not bigger than 80, so it will return false. Like, so this whole thing here, it will return false, right? Which is why it will go over to denied. Now, if we use an OR operator, it will print accepted, right? Because for an OR operator, only one of them has to be true. Even if the score is bad, at least you're taking science, which is why it's accepted. And it's the same with the other ones. So next, what if there are a lot of conditions, not just if it's 80? Then we use this thing called an else if. Now, the cool thing about else if is that you can write multiple else if. You can stack them all one after the other as much as you want. But it will get a bit difficult to read, but it's fine. So in this else if, we can write if score is, I'll just say equal to 50 for now, right? 50. And is science is equal to true, then we print on hold for now. So make sure this is and as well. Now if we run that, it will indeed printf this message right here, on hold. See, on hold. This is, do you know why? Because the score is false. It's less than 80, so it returns a false. Then if it's false, then it skips to else if. And since this is true, score is equal to 50 and is science equal to true, then it will be false. Now, what happens if both are true, right? We just choose or, and we just or. Like, would the program crash or what? Well, let's try it. It indeed prints accepted. Now, it's important to realize if you're writing an if-else statement, it's like a ladder, it will always execute the first and the topmost condition because it's procedural. Once it's been executed, then it just stops. You don't go to the other one. You only go to the other one when it's really false, like when it doesn't fulfill. So therefore, it's accepted, right? Oh, and another thing, we don't even have to use variables in this, right? We can, right now, if we just write this, it will still make sense, right? Accepted. Because we can just use the Boolean true or false values, because that's like the most basic form. So it's important to keep in mind. You don't have to use variables or like the condition. You can just like straight out use true or false. And you can even use 0, 1. So let's try 1. Oh, okay, 0. 0 is false, right? And this is 1. Which one do you think will print? 1, right? Because it's 1 is equal to true. So therefore, it's on hold right here. So yeah, just be mindful that you can use 1, true, or something like that. So I have a question for you. If you look at these two programs, do you think there are any differences with this when we run it? Well, let's see and find out. So if true, it'll print out hello, which it does. Then next we go to here, hello. and they still print the same thing. So in fact, these two aren't so different, except for one thing. In this program, we're using curly braces, and in this one, we don't use them. What makes them so different is that when making an if-else statement without the curly braces, it's assumed that the preceding line afterwards is the singular statement that will execute. So basically, in this program, we can write as many things, and it will run this, right? But in here, you have to be really careful where you place your statements. Otherwise, it might not go the way you want them to. And for a beginner, it's best practice to always use curly braces so that it makes your code look readable and more understandable to other people. Here's another example. So we have here a is equal to 10, right? If a is equal to 9, you write a is 9, but then we increment it by 1. However, we will print it afterwards, right? This is what we call a singular statement, but we'll see here. In here, what makes it different is the braces. So let's run them. Let's see the difference. So for this one, you get 11, right? But in this one, you get 10. Now, you might expect them to be the same, but as we said before, since you're not using a curly brace, we expect it to be the only line, which is afterwards, that will get executed. So basically this increment here will run regardless whether a is equal to 9. If you want the program to only increment if a is equal to 9, then you would want to use curly braces. It's a multiple statement thing. So that's all for now. I'll let my friend explain the other topics. Like and subscribe.
Here I will explain string comparison. For string comparison itself cannot use double equals, so in this string compressor use the strcmp function. The strcmp function is found in the include string.h header, so we need to include the string.h header at the beginning of the program so that strcmp can be read. Furthermore, in the strcmp string1 and string2, for the comparison function, there are several return values, including if 0, if string1 is equal to string2, and if lower than 0, if string1 is less than string2, and above 0 if string1 is greater than string2. I'm here to explain the switch case used in the branching. A switch case is a form of branching condition when, if a condition is true, the code block with a value of true will be executed. The difference between the switch case and the if-else is that the check can be done by comparison, while the switch case cannot. In addition, switch cases are highly recommended for use in the menu and are not recommended for range comparison. For the inside of the switch case, there will be a case with the variables enter, and if the case is not met, then the default will be the one selected. Break itself is in the switch case serves to stop the action performed until it reaches the case so that the action in the next case is not processed.
Hello everyone, my name is Salim Amarashid with assistant code LIM. Today I'm gonna show you the example for program of switch case and if else one action and two action. In switch case, In the line 1, we have hashtag include stdio.h. In line 2, we have the integer I. Line 3 is the main program or void main. It contains the line 4 to line 17. Line 5, we have printf masukkan urutan hari. Line 6, scanf %d and I, this is the integer. And line 7 to line 16 is the switch case program. This is the integer. And we have 7 case. Case 1 to case 7. In every case, you have to write the break function, because if you don't write this, the program will displaying the case 1 to case 2 until it found the break. Let me show you. Sekarang urutan hari sub 1 to displaying Senin. What if you don't have break? And then it will displaying Senin and Selasa. Two case. But if we inputting the output of this number, if we inputting the offset of the case, it will displaying the default or angka di luar urutan hari. Now we are moving to if else one action. In the line 1, we have hashtag include stdio.h. Line 2, integer bill. Line 3 is the void main or main program that contain the printf, angka, scanf, %d, and integer bill. In the line 7 to line 9, we have the if else function. If integer bill modulo 2 equals 0, it means true, and it will displaying bilangan genap. Else, the integer bill modulo 2 equal 0 is false, it will displaying bilangan ganjil. Sorry. Example number 2. Okay. Sorry. Yeah, see. If we inputting the number 2, it will displaying bilangan genap. If we inputting number 3, it will displaying bilangan ganjil, odd number. Now we're moving to if else 2 action. In if else 2 action, we have 2 library, stack include stdio and stack include string.h. This library is for comparing the string. And in the line 3, we have 2 character uname and pass. You can write to like this too. In the line 5, we have integer main. It contains the main program from line 6 to line 16. Line 7, printf username gets the character uname. Line 8, printf password gets the character pass. And this is the if else program. If this the string compare to compare character uname to this .com equal 0, and string compare character pass to cache equal 0. If the both of these are true, it will printf login sukses. Silakan lanjutkan. For example, sorry. username is gascom and password is kc. It will display login sukses, silakan lanjutkan. Yeah. If the one of these are false, it will display login gagal. See, it will display login gagal. So it must be to true. If not, it will display the login gagal, or it will going to else.